My name is MILO and I'm the gay technology editor of Breitbart News. I was due this evening to speak at the UC Berkeley about cultural appropriation, a phenomenon on the progressive social justice left where they sort of like to tell you what kind of costumes it's allowed to wear, whether it's racist to wear a kimono, for instance, if you're not Japanese. It's not a subject you would imagine would prompt the kind of violent riots that you're now seeing on every major broadcast network in the United States, and it's not something I expected to happen tonight. But it turns out that the progressive left, the social justice left, the feminist, Black Lives Matter, Antifa left, the hard left, which has become so utterly antithetical to free speech in the last few years, is taking a turn post-Trump's election where they simply will not allow any speaker on campus, even somebody as silly and harmless and gay as me, to have their voice heard. They won't allow students to listen to differing points of view. They're absolutely petrified by alternative visions of how the world ought to look, and people with arguments and fact and reason that don't conform to the crazy social justice left vision of the universe. So I was evacuated by my security detail and by the police tonight from UC Berkeley. UC Berkeley, of course, being the home of the free speech movement. It's both ironic and sad that this campus appears to be no friend to free speech anymore. I don't want to get into wild conspiracy theorizing or pointing fingers, but it's been noted by a number of people, including Tucker Carlson at Fox News, that the police presence did not seem to be particularly aggressive this evening. And that's something that I witnessed and that my security detail witnessed too. There was a sort of sit back, let it happen approach. I was evacuated really at the first sign of trouble. Trouble did get a lot worse after I did leave, so I think I'd have had to leave anyway. So this event may never have got off the ground. It seems as though the university and police didn't really want it to happen. But the fact that on an American college campus, a place of higher education, a place of learning in America, which I've come to as a visitor from the United Kingdom, where we don't have a First Amendment, hoping that this would be somewhere where you could be, do, and say anything, where you could express your views, express your opinions, crack some jokes, make people think, make people laugh, free from violent responses to political ideas. I thought America was the one place that would be possible. I am, of course, not the racist or the sexist or anything else that the posters that they put up claim that I am. They do that in order to legitimize their own violence against you. But even if I were, even if the things that they said about me were true, this still wouldn't be an appropriate response to ideas. You see, the thing is that the progressive left in America, I've noticed over the last year, has been engaged in this project of conflating ideas with action. And the reason they want to do that, the reason they introduce these words like student safety, like if you're a conservative speaker, you represent a threat to student safety. They do it to blur the lines between ideas and action. Why? To legitimize their own violent responses to somebody else's political opinions. They don't like what I have to say about feminism, for instance, or Black Lives Matter, or the campus wage gap conspiracy, campus rape culture conspiracy, or the wage gap, or any of the other things that I like to investigate with facts, reason, and logic. They don't like responses to that, so they claim that I'm a threat to student safety. Now, universities are complicit in this stuff. They haven't just inculcated the environment in which it springs up, but they actively pander to it, and in some cases even fund it. It seems to me that the alumni who write to me and say they're horrified by the state of their own old schools. And we had an instance actually just this week at, where was it now? At Bucknell, where a very prominent donor to Bucknell, an alumnus, is a Trump supporter, and he started being abused and insulted by Bucknell's current students. Well, these are the guys that keep the places ticking over. So, it's not for me to tell American higher education institutions, American universities and colleges, how to proceed, but something very disturbing happened this evening, and it was an expression of political violence in response to a not particularly conservative gay speaker on an American college campus, a visitor from the UK who had come, to express his views, to speak to students, to start a discussion, a dialogue. Something very disturbing happened on UC Berkeley campus this evening, and the response to it from other colleges, I think, is going to determine whether people really lose faith entirely in the American higher education system, whether they are prepared to send their kids to these places and to keep funding these places. But in the meantime, I'm just sitting in a hotel room stunned that hundreds of people were throwing rocks, throwing goodness knows what else at the building, throwing fireworks at the police, and had to be subdued, according to reports I heard, with tear gas and non-lethal bullets, because they're so threatened by the idea that a conservative speaker might be persuasive and interesting and funny and might persuade, might take some people with him. They just have to shut it down at all costs. As America of all places now is a scene of political violence in response to ideas. It's very shocking, but I'm safe, my team is safe, and I'm sure you'll hear a lot more about this in the days to come.